Hello everyone, welcome to another one of my videos. Today I will be talking to you about the Ten of Wands. You can see here that our wands have changed again. So in the Nine of Wands we had these beautiful moons everywhere. But now in the 10, it looks like both ends of these wands have been cut off, or maybe they have been burned off. And I have a quote from the Book of Thoth for you that might explain a bit about this. The 8 wands are still crossed, showing the enormous power of the completed energies of fire, but they have lost their patterns of nobility. Their ends seem more like claws. They lack the authority and intelligence shown in the earlier cards. And in front are the two formidable Dirges of the Two of Wands, but lengthened to bars. We will talk about the Dirges in a moment, but first I wanted to explain everything about the wands in the background. So Crowley says the 8 wands are still crossed, showing the enormous power of the completed energies of fire. And this enormous power was shown to us in the 9 of Wands. So if you remember from my previous video, in the Nine of Wands we have this most beautiful and fullest manifestation of this amazing energy of fire. Now in the 10, we still have the power, but spirituality is removed from it. So that's why the ends are cut off. And if you remember what these wands usually look like in the deck, like in the Six of Wands, so these are the Golden Dawn wands that are usually shown in this deck. And actually the endings of these wands, this is their spiritual power. So if you remove this power from them, they lack authority, as Crowley says, and they lack intelligence. So there's still power, but the power becomes a bit dull. It becomes a bit blind. And Crowley says that these look like claws now, the endings of the wands. They are actually flames, but they do look like claws, because this is another hint for us that the force that we are dealing with here, it's very primal. It's a primitive force, and as he says, it lacks authority and it lacks intelligence. If we count all of these flames here, we get 16 of them. 16 is a symbol of completeness and an auspicious number in India because of this. For example, 16 is used in a lot of weighing systems in many different cultures. So for example, we have 16 ounces in 1 pound. And this system was very popular because you can easily divide 1 pound into 16 ounces by just splitting it in half and then splitting those halves in half again, which, if you think about it, is impossible with the decimal system, because you need to split 1/2 into 5 parts, and it's impossible unless you have like a reference weight. But if you are just using the scales with just a simple balance, then dividing everything in halves is like the best system to use. And of course we have the hexadecimal system based on number 16 that is used in computer programming. So 16 is connected to completeness, but if you remember from my video about the Nine of Wands, always the completeness brings about the beginning of decay. Nothing in nature can stay the same over a long period of time. Everything is in permanent state of change, and this is like a basic law of nature. Everything changes. So once we have completed something, we cannot hold on to this moment. We have to start changing, making new plans, and doing something completely different. We can never just keep standing in one place in life. And if you don't want to follow this change, if you want to stay in one place, and if you are very stubborn about it, then those of you who already read tarot will know that exactly what happens to people who resist change is the Tower card. So the Tower card is actually number 16 in the Major Arcana, so it is connected with the Ten of Wands. This is the destructive energy of fire that comes into play when you want to force yourself to stand in one place. So if there's a situation that needs change but you are resisting it, the energy of the Tower card is the destructive force that comes from the outside. So it is forcing you out of your position because you haven't made changes yourself. So I think it is better to change on your own rather than have to face this destructive energy of fire that we can see in the background here of this card. And I have another quote from the Book of Thoth here for you. Crowley says, "The flames in the background of the card have run wild. It is fire in its most destructive aspect." So again, we have a confirmation here that there is a link to the Tower card, because Tower card, if anything, it is fire in its most destructive aspect. Also, have a look at the shape of these flames here. You should remember the shape from the Two of Wands, where we had destructive power of fire, but in the Two, this was in our favor because we were removing obstacles from our way. The same shape can be seen here in the Five. In the Five, it was more destructive than in the Two, but I think the biggest destruction or the most destructive element of those flames is shown in the Ten. Of course, this destructive energy is connected to the fifth Sephira of Gevora, and the orange color in the background is actually the color of Gevora in Atzilut. So this is according to the Golden Dawn color scheme. And according to this color scheme, the Sephiroth have different colors in different worlds. If you want to find out more about this, please watch my video about the 4 worlds of Kabbalah, and I explain everything there. For now, you only need to know that Atzilut is the world we are in now. So this is the world of spirit, and this world is connected with the element of fire. If we count all of those flames, there are 24 of them. 24 is connected with the Dharma chakra that has 24 spokes, and Dharma chakra is representing Buddha's teachings and the universal moral order that exists in the world. So we can see that even though we have all of this destructive power of fire, this destruction is needed to bring us back to this universal moral order, because we have gone too far here in this card. This is the energy of the card. We have gone too far, and destruction will happen to us because it needs to bring us back to our correct path in life. We're going to have a look at the Dirges now. So in the Two of Wands, they were working in our favor. They were removing obstacles from our way, but here they have turned into bars and they are blocking our way. So we can say that the Dirges here have the complete opposite energy to the ones that we had in the Two of Wands. The Dirges are now made of metal, at least they look like this is metal. They are definitely more physical than they were in the Two, because if you remember, in the Two of Wands, they cross here, but they occupy the same space. None of them is higher and lower. Here, we can see that they are closer to us than the Wands, and the Wands are more in the spiritual world, but the Dirges now are very, very physical. There's also another difference. If you have a look here at the end of them, there are no snakes. We had snakes here, which symbolized transformation in the Two of Wands. So no transformation is possible here in the Ten. And the Dirges in the Two symbolize spiritual power to remove obstacles. But now in the 10, they become the obstacles in our way. And this is simply because we have forgotten about our spirituality. So if there is no spirituality, the Dirges are blocking our way and we cannot go any further. And this blue color is connected with the fourth Sephira of Hesed and planet Jupiter. So this is where we get the beginnings of structures, foundations, our laws. This color is also connected to Hayagriva, the protector of law. And if you want to find out more about him and more about the Dirges, please watch my video about the Two of Wands, because I go into great detail about all of this. I don't want to repeat this necessarily in this video because it's just going to get very long. But for now, we just need to know that Hayagriva usually is helping us to overcome inner egotism and outer obstructions. So his function is similar to the function of the Dirges. It's just to remove obstacles from our way so we can progress. But in this card, we have failed him. So we have lost our spirituality, and that's why he is now blocking our way. And this actually connects to another quote from the Book of Thoth that I have for you. The whole picture suggests oppression and repression. It is a stupid and obstinate cruelty from which there is no escape. It is a will which has not understood anything beyond its dull purpose, its lust of result, and will devour itself in the conflagrations it has evoked. So it gets a bit dark and intense at the end of this quote, but this is the energy of the Tower card. The power, if it has no spirituality attached to it, it will just devour itself. So it does invite this destruction. To understand this quote fully, we need to have a look at the Tree of Life. So if we have a look here, we are in Malkut at the moment, in the 10. The pure will of Keter, this is the pure energy. And once it starts descending down the Tree of Life, it needs to keep this spiritual pure component. It descends down the Tree of Life, and this energy takes on different shapes, different forms. You can say that it becomes different versions of itself. It transforms in a way as it passes through the different Sephiroth. But once we are here, once we manifest our matter, we need to keep some of this purity of Keter. And if we lose this spiritual component, the energy just becomes really dull and cruel. So this is what Crowley means, that the will has not understood anything beyond its dull purpose. So it is just moving, but it has lost the spiritual part of itself. And that's why it just has to devour itself. That's why it invites destruction, because matter without the spiritual component has no right to exist. We are now in the 10th Sephira of Malkut, and Crowley says Malkut depends from the other 9 Sephiroth, but it's not directly in communication with them. It shows the force detached from its spiritual sources. It has become a blind force, so the most violent form of that particular energy, without any modifying influences. If you have a look at the Tree of Life again, Malkut is sometimes described as a pendulum that swings below the Tree of Life. So it is like the lowest of all Sephiroth, and it definitely is the least spiritual of all of them, just because of where it's placed on the Tree of Life. It's also not as connected as, let's say, Tiferet is. Like, Tiferet is the most connected out of all of them. So, yeah, so you can see this idea of, like, Malkut being like the manifested matter. So, you know, it has to be the furthest away from the pure will and the pure spiritual power. Astrologically, this card is described as Saturn in Sagittarius. So we can see on the decan wheel, we are in the last decan of Sagittarius here. And you can see Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So Jupiter is probably the energy opposite to Saturn, and Sagittarius is kind of the same. Crowley says about this connection, here is the greatest antipathy. Sagittarius is spiritual, swift, light, elusive, and luminous. Saturn is material, slow, heavy, obstinate, and obscure. So you can see how this is actually the greatest antipathy. These two energies do not merge at all. And we have another influence of Saturn in this card, because if you remember from my previous video, this is the path of Saturn, the path of the universe card from Yesod to Malkut. So we actually need this energy of Saturn. We need everything to be slow and material and heavy because we are manifesting matter. So, all of this energy has to descend into slow and, obscure matter. There is no other way to really do it. So, it is very difficult to have anything spiritual in the world of matter, but still we should strive to keep at least a tiny bit of this pure and clean spiritual energy. There is something very interesting about the placement of this card on the decan wheel. So if you have a look at the time frame associated with the Ten of Wands, so it is between December 13th and December 21st. December 21st is of course winter solstice. And if you have a look at where other tens are assigned, you will notice that all of the tens are connected with decans that mark an end of a certain period throughout the year. So we have winter solstice here, Ten of Wands, Ten of Cups, March 20th, spring equinox, Ten of Swords is here, June 20th, summer solstice, and Ten of Discs, which is here, September 22nd, autumn equinox. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about how to interpret this card in readings. So the name of the card is Oppression. In Divination, this card can simply mean a situation you cannot win. The way to your goal is definitely blocked, and there's nothing you can do about this. So you might be losing your faith at this point, and you might be thinking that you don't know what to do next. You might have feelings of being trapped, but this card really doesn't offer any solutions. It just shows you that where you are going, everything is blocked. There is no way through, so you need to find a different way. You need to change something. In work-related readings, this card means being under too much pressure. So there's a lot of work, it's really intense. You might have a lot of clients, and in general, you're just feeling overworked and really overwhelmed with the demands and with the workload. This can mean also a very demanding boss. So usually I see this card when someone wants to change their job, and this card usually shows me the reason why they want to change it. So there's just an insane amount of pressure on them, and it just cannot continue. You need to change. In the relationship reading, this shows a controlling partner very often, and usually when you see this card, there's an unhealthy power dynamic between the two people, and it just leads to one person feeling like they cannot be themselves. So again, this is this feeling of being trapped, and also a feeling of being controlled by the other person, and really feeling this Saturnian influence of the other person, controlling and limiting you, and yes, really just not letting you be yourself. So again, this just means you have to change. You have to end this relationship. You have to look after yourself. Because when you see this card, it usually means nothing is going to change here. The opposition is too strong. So you have to find a completely different solution. If this card describes a person in your reading, so if this is someone's character, then this is someone overly ambitious and someone who's focused on material gain. This person has no care for how their actions impact other people. They will just trample over others to get to what they want. And this can be also someone who's very controlling and very selfish. So it often describes people who have narcissistic personality disorder. And if you don't know what this is, please find out, please familiarize yourself with this, because it will explain a lot of difficult interactions with people that you might be dealing with. You might as well just stop wasting your energy on them, because this person's not going to change. They do not understand empathy and they do not feel empathy, more importantly. So they will not understand what you are trying to convince them of. And yes, so the energy of this card is really telling you there is no way forward. If you keep on going this way, there is only destruction. So you have to completely change your approach. You have to do something drastically different to continue with the progress, because this is not the way. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, please like it on YouTube, and of course subscribe to my channel to see more of those videos. I'm very excited about the next video because we are finally beginning court cards, and we will be looking at the Knight of Wands in the next video, and he's a very interesting character, so I think it's going to be fun. Thank you so much again for today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!